I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
Modified.
Well, the way they presented it, I'm supposed to sit up there and just listen like everybody else. So that's not why I came here. Did I see?
It's a good concept.
Like you said,
That's a county.
Booming. That's building, that's for sure. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir.
Welcome to some of us to showcase the Shrewsbury Farms and events. For most people, the agricultural tourism refers to a visit to a working farm or any agricultural, horticultural, or agribusiness operation. In order to enjoy, to be educated, and actively involved in the activities of the farm, getting a true farm experience. Spruceberry is about farmers' Christmas trees, picking your own vegetables, and locally encourages educating families at special events, getting that true farm experience. Spruceberry is our county's newest and probably largest promoter of that farm experience here in the heart of Virginia. For our economic development activity, tourism, and especially agritourism is a key focus. For our EDA's new business task force, agritourism is a key component of a comprehensive plan to promote and educate the public, provide opportunity and prosperity for all residents, preserving the rural, historical, and agricultural heritage of Cumberland County. We would like to express our gratitude to Shrewsbury, inviting the county residents to use this space for our large gathering at our town hall. We hope to find this location more comfortable and relaxing, and we hope to have more here in the future. The town hall started as a way to get more information out to the residents of District 2 to be more transparent and offer questions and interaction. We needed a location, and Spruceberry volunteered. Since we had a really good sized facility, why not add another district? To which District 1 volunteered. Then the county administrator pointed out all supervisors in all districts can participate as long as the supervisors focus on business, which, if they did, would effectively be at BOS meetings. So here we are. Welcome. A few housekeeping items. Bathrooms over here on your right. And I will give you a hint. The doors slide. Okay, so if you go to the bottom, they slide. Fire exits are all marked. At the conclusion, Shrewsbury will offer ice cream for sale, and there's water and cookies. And finally, one additional announcement. A proposal on the formation of our own Heart of Virginia Farmers Market has started, and the Heart of Virginia Farmers Market should be opening in April of 2025. It's located right here. Indoors and outdoors, rain or shine, is planned for every Saturday from 7:30 to 11, and many of the organizers are here tonight and we applaud them. Thank you. So, we hope you enjoy your experience at Shrewsbury Farm, and hope you'll come back. Thank you. Let me introduce the presenters tonight. We have County Administrator Derek Stanley. From the schools, Dr. Jones. And our moderator for the evening, Dr. James.
Yes, we're all excited to have you here tonight, and I think there are some rules for tonight's presentation. So if you have not, we'll have 3 separate presentations. The first one will be from the schools, and then the other two will be from the county. But following each section, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. We've set aside 15 minutes for each section to ask questions. But you do need to sign up. If you want to speak, please sign up. Mr. Stain, would you like to elaborate on this a little bit?
Thank you, Dr. Jamerson. First of all, thank you all for coming out tonight. It shows that you're engaged with your community and that you want to be a part of Cumberland's bright future. And I just want to personally thank you for coming out tonight. Just a couple more housekeeping items, as Dr. Jamerson touched on. We do have 3 sections of information that we're sharing. We do ask that you sign up. You can sign up now or up to the point where we collect the sheets. But if you have a question and we run out of time, I still want to make sure that I follow up with you. So if you have a question, and we can touch base either after the meeting as time allows, or by email or phone, I will be glad to connect with you and make sure that all questions get answered. So that's why we're asking folks to sign up so that we can make sure that everybody that has a voice and wants to ask questions has the ability to do so. So again, we thank you for being here, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Jones, and I'm going to actually sit at the table and run the PowerPoint, if that's okay with you. So that way, if it messes up, you can blame me.
Well, thank you, Mr. Stamey, and thank you to Spruceberry Farms for hosting this event tonight and so forth. But thank you for being here. I'm Chip Jones. I'm the superintendent for Cumberland County Public Schools. I've been in this role for 5 years. I started my 5th year, 21 years with the school division. So I started my 21st year at Cumberland Schools, came in 2004 as the assistant principal at the elementary school, and have just stayed in Cumberland and moved up to eventually being superintendent. So I find it a privilege to be the superintendent for the school division. So I'll give you a little update from the school, but before I do, you met Liz Jamerson. She is the assistant superintendent, was a high school English teacher, been in Cumberland a little bit of time. She never likes me to say the number of years. And in the back, we have Bernice Ford. Ms. Ford, if you can wave your hand, she's our Director of Special Education. We have Sherry Allman, who's our Curriculum and Instruction. And then we have Mr. Dingledine, who is our Technology, CTE, and whatever else we want to put with a slash or a comma or so forth. And then in the audience, I saw Ms. Yvonne Urban come in. She is one of our school board representatives. So I just wanted District 3. Yep. Two. Yes, ma'am. So as we begin, I just want to go over the school board goals. Each year, the school board adopts goals, and you can see them up here. The Cumberland County Public Schools will be student-centered, and I hope that you see through the presentation tonight that that is something that we are. Our business is children, and making sure they have good education and they're provided opportunities and so forth. The second one is Cumberland County Public Schools will expand opportunities that are equitable and collaborative for learning that empowers students. They were giving students the opportunities to either pursue things that they are interested in. And Cumberland County Public Schools will develop committed stakeholders who build positive relationships. And they are defined as students, faculty and staff, parents, family, and community members. We serve the community. And so that's what, in all the decisions that we make. In Cumberland County Public Schools, we use division resources to effectively and efficiently support staff. We want to make sure that we have the best of the best in front of our kids each and every day. Nothing replaces a good teacher. So we want to make sure a paraprofessional, administrator, bus driver, custodial, school nutrition, it takes everyone to have the best of the best. Our course offerings. Cumberland High School this year, we have been on a traditional 7-block schedule. That's where children or students would have taken 7 courses throughout the year. They have a first period, second period, third period, so forth. Probably like many of us when we went through school and so forth. This year we transitioned to a 4x4 block schedule, meaning that it's semester classes that they take for 90 minutes a day for semester and so forth, and then they change for the second semester. which allowed us the option. The reason we transitioned to that is it provides more options for students. And the feedback that we've gotten from students, I just met 4 times a year, I meet with what we call the Student Advisory Council, elementary, middle, and high school. I just did that yesterday, which is Monday, because I wanted to start the week meeting with children. That reminds you of your mission, your vision, and everything. And so talking to the high school students and meeting with Ms. Shores is the kids like it. Last year when they heard that we were transitioning to a 4x4, they didn't like it. A little bit of a change. They don't always embrace change. Neither do a lot of adults, but that's what we were doing. But they like it because it gives them more time to concentrate on the subject that they're in, ask questions, and it's less classes a year. They're not taking 7, they're taking 4, and so forth. So with that, one of the things that we've added, this year we were able to add cosmetology. And that class has been very popular, and it gives students the option to explore something they like and learn something that maybe they can work as an internship or so forth while they're going to school and learn a credential, so when they graduate, they can go right into the workforce. And so when I go in there, we're privileged at central office, and it's located in the building right behind us. I learned about a 9-rod perm set one day when I went in there. I didn't know that existed. But I pointed to my hair and said, what do you think you all can do with this? And one of them said, not much. So that is going well. We had a teacher that came to us from Buckingham, Miss Trick. So she lives down in the Cartersville area and more in Columbia. So she came to us from Buckingham. So the program is going well. The second is we were able to add creative writing and to bring that back into the high school and so forth. And that gives kids the options. You need to learn how to write. And when you leave, writing is a skill that you will always use and so forth. So we were able to add that back in. Criminal justice. That is one of the classes that we are looking to offer in the spring. And that gives children or students the option to explore. Maybe they want to go into law enforcement. Maybe we want to do this, and just bringing that back in and giving them a career pathway. Cybersecurity. We were able to bring that into the school division, and Crystal Parker is teaching that for us, and it teaches children about the basics of being safe, but it also introduces them into the world of technology, and there's lots of jobs centered around technology. One of the things that we did last year, 2 years ago, was our first year, the community college that serves our area, the Southside Virginia Community College out of Keystone. And so, if you know Mecklenburg County, you know that they got a Microsoft data center. So they partnered with the data center in Mecklenburg partnered with the community college to put in a mock data center in South Hill. I was at a meeting one day, and I learned about the counties that surround it, Lunenburg, Brunswick, Mecklenburg, of course, and what their students were given the option to do. So my question to Southside was, how does Cumberland get into that? Because our kids shouldn't be limited by where we are and what we have access to sometimes. So what we did, it's kind of building a plane as you go. Our students took the class virtually 4 days a week. They had to be in. And then on the 5th day, we transported them to South Hill. Actually, Mr. Dingledine drove them. They leave Cumberland at 6 o'clock, and they get back at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're the hands-on piece. And they earn credentials to have them go out into the workforce. One of your kids that graduated 2 years ago was going to college to work in computers and so forth. But because of the credentials that he got offered a job and was able to move back home, work virtually 2 days from his home, 3 days in the office, still go to school online, and his starting salary was $75,000. That's a success. And so through that and working through those partnerships and so forth, so it was worth asking Southside, having the kids rearranging their schedules and transporting them to South Hill. It all paid off. Geology, we know what that is, gives kids the options to study more about the environment and different things like that. Nutrition and wellness, that is something that's always, everybody always wants to get just a little bit healthier. We know what we should eat, but sometimes it's good, we do it anyway. And just teaching them about different habits, oceanography, and then public speaking and debate. You always need to know how to speak to people, to talk to people, and then if you don't agree with someone, how do you work through that and so forth. So that has it's going pretty well. And then we just put on there more opportunities for internships and job shadowing. We've partnered with Cumberland County where they did it, some of the students did an internship in administrative offices and so forth. We're looking to have students do more internships. So if you have a business and you're interested in having a student do an internship, reach out to us. We'll work through that. We had a student last year that did an internship in their bus shop. He's interested in being a mechanic, so we were able to work with the insurance and different things to get all that lined up. Extracurricular activities. School, as you know, is more than just academics. And so we have to have things that students are interested in, because some students do okay in class, some do better than others, and some just excel. And so we want to have the options for them. So our sports. As you know, this year we brought back JV football. I did not know until we announced that we weren't having a varsity football team that Cumberland County football was that big of a news item across the Commonwealth of Virginia and so forth. But it was, and so forth. And, but we made the choice on that based on the safety of students and the lack of players. When you have 5 upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, and then you have freshmen, sophomore, 8th graders, it becomes a big risk in different things and just reaching out to families. So we made a decision to offer JV football. And I will say, right now they are 2-0. They scored more points in their last 2 games than we have scored in a long time. So they're doing very well. They're excited, and I appreciate the support with that. And I see them playing as a team, and they're doing very well. So we appreciate that. And that leads to a successful varsity team and so forth. Varsity and JV basketball, girls and boys, we offer that. That will start in the winter. As you saw, Tyrone Mosby is returning to be our high school basketball coach. He graduated from Cumberland in 1991, basketball standout, and he currently serves as our athletic director and our career development person. But in Cumberland, we'd like to give you one more thing to go along with that. So he's going to come back to a varsity basketball program. He served in that position for 18 years. So now he's coming back. Middle school JV and varsity volleyball. We offer that. And their middle school volleyball team is doing very well. They, the other day, and this is kind of unheard of, right across the border, you go a little bit up Route 60, you get into Powhatan County. Our middle school volleyball team took Powhatan County schools to 5 sets in volleyball. That's never happened. And when you watch the players, they play as a team, and these young ladies have been playing because Cumberland County has invested in a youth league that brought in volleyball, and they're developing the talent, and they've been playing as a team, and it's working. So now they're going to middle school, and they're being very successful. Then they'll go to JV, and then they'll go to varsity, and so forth. So kudos to Cumberland County and to the Rec League for building that program and supporting it, because it is paying off. And those stands are pretty packed at a Cumberland Middle School volleyball team game. Track, cross country, indoor and track and field, and we offer those sports. Last year we redid the track with some grant funds. Cumberland County hosted its first track meet in 42 years. And it was probably 400 people plus there. There were food trucks, there was this, there was that. There was a lot of excitement about it. And this year I watched kids with Coach JC, they're practicing their pole vault. They love, I could never do that. It would be a disaster, but they like it. Golf, we have 4 kids that are interested in golf this year. So they were supposed to have their district tournament today. I'm not sure if they did. Wrestling, we last year with wrestling, we took 12 students to the States. So we have a strong wrestling program. We're looking for a wrestling coach, so if any of you are interested in doing that, let us know. High school and middle school cheerleading, softball, we had baseball. We have a new baseball coach this year. Evan Plug has come to us. His parents live down in the Cartersville area. So he has joined our area. He's a physical education teacher. He's going to be our coach. So his father's Will Plug, if you know him. And so we appreciate him being here. He's already started some fall work with their players. We have soccer, and this year we have esports. Different activities that we have drama and theater, scholastic ball, robotics, forensics, yearbook, environment, and band. We have a little bit that every kid can be interested in and so forth. And we were leaving, I just saw the band out in the front field practicing their formation. If you think sports can get intense, go to a band practice and watch them practice formations. That's pretty intense. And with that, Mr. Costa blows that whistle. Those kids line up and so forth. It's like a well-oiled machine. All right, Mr. Stanley. So with that, to go back from sports and so forth and academic, going back to academics, as you've probably seen in the news, there's a new accreditation rating for school systems. This is really just getting kicked off this year. Actually, it's just going into effect this year, and so forth. So when we talk about that, schools will have different performance categories and so forth. So, and I may have Dr. Allman speak a little more on this, but if you can see up there, it's all your performance categories that you will have for each school. We have Cumberland Elementary, Middle, and High School. We have distinguished, on track, off track, and needs intensive support. So all of that to determine the points that you get for distinguished, on track, off track, and support all go into how students perform academic tests, your SOL test, whether it's in reading, math, science, and so forth, chronic absenteeism, whether students are coming to school or not. And if a student misses 18 days or more from school, they are considered chronically absent, and that's for any reason. They could have the flu and be sick. They could just not be a student that comes to school, or they could have a lot of family emergencies. Once they reach day 19, they are considered chronically absent. And we are rated on that. Growth, how our students perform, meaning if a student in third grade performs this on a third grade SOL test, and then in fourth grade, they perform this, there's a calculation now for expected growth. Did they meet the expected growth based on this calculation that the Department of Education puts out? So it all goes into this formula and so forth. And then for high school, when you get into that, we talk about readiness. And that's the different career options that we offer for students and the different certifications that they earn. And then graduation. Are we graduating students on time? Meaning, schools get an on-time graduation. I don't get a little more in depth here. They get an on-time graduation rate. So when we get students to go to ninth grade or freshmen, we have 4 years to get them graduated. And it doesn't matter if they come to school or chronically absent and so forth. We have 4 years. And if we don't, we get what we call a ding from the Department of Education. So we work very hard to make sure that they get the classes that they need, that they come to summer learning, and with something this past year we started Saturday school, that they come to school on Saturdays so we can get the credits that they need and so forth. It's a lot. It rolls into a lot to make sure that we have the accreditation and so forth. Last year, we had one school, our middle school, that was identified for being, was federally identified for not performing at certain point levels. So we were identified that last year. Unofficially, our middle school has come out of that. Our staff, our teachers, everyone worked very diligently to move that school out of being identified. And that took the work of families, teachers, and so forth to make that happen. So that was a lot of work and so forth. But we have more work to do, and we know that, and we will continue to do it. Mr. Stanley? Family engagement. We put a big focus on family engagement, making sure that our families feel part of the schools and so forth. And as you can see, the different things what that leads to. If we engage our families, then they can invite families into the school. They can see what Cumberland County Public Schools is all about. It's more than just reading and writing. It's a lot of activities that go in there. And we do different events. We have a fall festival coming up. We just did the combined 9/11 ceremony with Cumberland County and so forth. We do parent-teacher conferences. And our elementary school with that, it's a little different than most traditional. Students actually talk about the work that they're doing with their families. It's pretty powerful to hear a kindergartner talk about what they're learning in the fall, and then hear them talk about it a little bit more in the spring, and watch that continuum of growth. It's pretty impressive. And so we're working on that and always looking for activities to engage our families. And middle school does a volleyball tailgate. You know, you hear different football tailgates and so forth. We do a volleyball tailgate. The high school is in the process of planning what we call an etiquette dinner for your students, your seniors, so they learn when you go out into the world and you're at different places or different functions, there are some different etiquette that goes along with that. So that is in the process of being planned. So we hope to have that in November and December. So we're always looking for ways to make their kids and their staff in Cumberland County Schools just a little bit better. All right, Mr. Singh. Funding. As you know, to operate a school system, it's expensive. We are expensive. We're the biggest expense for Cumberland County. One of the biggest employers in Cumberland County, so we are expensive. And the way the county comes and so forth is, the way the funding works, we get state funding, we get federal funding, and we get local funding. And the amount of state funding that you get is determined based on what they call a composite index. And right now, Cumberland is probably a 0.33. And what that means is the locality funds about 33% of their budget, and the state funds about 67%. Federal funds are different funds that you apply for through applications and so forth that we get to help fund different positions and do different things. But that is, and then we write different grants. That's may come under other funds or receipt books or so forth to do the different things that we do. If we see a grant that will benefit the schools, we go after it. And we stay away from the grants that require a local match. What that means is if you write a grant and that we have to ask the locality for money, we stay away from those. And we just look where there's no local match, or we can do it in kind with the personnel services or different facilities and different things that we have. And over the last few years, you've been seeing a little bit about CARES money and so forth. That has actually helped us a lot. We've been able to put on different roofs on buildings, whether it was the middle school gym. We've done some sidewalk repair. We've done roofs on central office. We've replaced some flooring throughout the schools. We were able to update some of their vehicles, like school buses and different things like that. Refrigeration units, repair some HVAC, put in a playground at their middle school that's accessible for students that may have a disability. Just looking at using those funds for one-time expenses to help to not be a cost to the locality, but to use funds that we could like to a grant. Mr. Singh. Recruitment. You hear a lot about the teacher shortage, and I'm here to tell you it's real. We compete with a lot of school divisions. Whether it's Goochland, whether it's Powhatan, whether it's Prince Edward, people will travel and so forth. Your turnover rate, you see the different things. Usually, if we get someone to come to Cumberland County Public Schools, they stay. If they don't, they leave because they're moving. They may have moved because they got a better paying job, maybe his health insurance is better, and so forth. Currently, right now, we're better this year than we have been in the past. Dr. Jamerson and the principals and really everyone in Cumberland has really put an effort on recruiting because we want the best of the best in front of the students every day. We have a JROTC senior instructor position. We have offered it to a candidate. We're waiting to see. because as if any job market, when we offer, usually there's other feelers out there and so forth, but we, for a JROTC program. We have a Cumberland High School counseling position that's still open and so forth. So we're working through that. We have one special education opening. We're working to maybe we can fill that in-house and so forth. That's at our high school. We have a Spanish teacher opening. We have a Spanish teacher that retired. And if you are interested in that, just let us know. So we're working through that. A school psychologist opening, speech language pathologist, and we're always looking for transportation drivers and so forth. So whether it's bus, whether it's car, whether it's but we're better off this year than we have been in the past. Mr. Stamen. Safety. You've heard a lot about school safety and so forth, and it is a big topic. And the different things that we've done in our building and on our facilities, we have cameras in all of our buildings and facilities, whether it's outside, whether it's inside, and so forth. Mr. Dingledine has worked hard on that. We have cameras in all of our buses and our cars that transport students. So we're able to, we have that. We have locked facilities with buzzer systems where people need to be buzzed in or swiped with the badge. Safety drills, we do all types of safety drills with students, whether it's fire, earthquake, lockdown, and so forth. We run through all of those drills as required. Staff ID badges to make sure that our staff has their ID badges. School resource officers on campus. These are grant funded. So you have a resource officer at elementary, then we share one for the middle and high school complex. Updated lighting on campus, if you've been there, hopefully you've seen a difference in the lighting and so forth. We've worked very well with Cumberland County to get that done because we have a lot of night events and people need to be able to see. Panic buttons in our office, meaning if there's an event, we can hit a button and it goes right to the sheriff's office. And they do work because somebody thought it was a buzzer to let someone in one day and it was not. It buzzed and the deputies came and they flopped. And so it was good. So we do know they work. So it was a good test run. Updated crisis manuals. We did some sidewalk shading. Instead of having to read more sidewalks, we worked with the company to shade it where the sidewalks become more ADA compliant. Internet filtering, if you're on their device, and it's even when high school students take their devices home, there's a filtering mechanism and so forth. And if they're looking up things that they shouldn't, because for students and adults, it'll tag it, it sends us an alarm, and we are able to know. So it's good. Do kids and people like it? No. But it is a good thing. Mulch for the playground. I talked about that at our complex. It's where if a child or a person is in a wheelchair or they have a mobility issue, it's where they're able to access the equipment. Message board for emergencies and so forth. Hopefully you've seen on Route 60. Different things. We updated our sign and so forth, but we're able to change that. Whether it's school closing, whether we need to do this or that. Before, it was a ladder and letters. And you made sure you had the right amount of tape with you in case the tracking was off and so forth. That was my job for a long time. Immunizations, continuous walkthroughs going in schools and so forth, and then staff and student training. And I want to speak, I guess you've seen in the news and different things, and different social media threats and different things that are going around. It is. It's just not Cumberland. It's everywhere. And it comes from different spam accounts. It does this. People set up accounts, then when they send out these Snapchats or whatever, they delete the account. So it's really like chasing a needle in a haystack sometimes. But you know, sheriff lodges and law enforcement, once we become aware of them, we work through that to see if there's a real threat to Cumberland County Public Schools. I never want to say that it's not sometimes because you have to watch the wording of that. Once you check and different things that there doesn't appear to be immediate danger right now. But always having these conversations. And it's, you know, whether it's 8 o'clock at night, I become aware of this and so forth, then you talk to law enforcement and you work through it, and then you inform the school community. All of us in here, some of us in here, are parents. No matter how old your kid is, whether they are 1 month or whether mine's 25, you're still a parent, you still work. and different things. And just making sure that we're communicating the message and so forth. And just making sure that we make the school as safe as possible. Mr. Sam? That is just some different pictures up here. Over here on the far left, this year we took our summer school students, they went to the Lion, they went to the Hampton City pool, and took swimming lessons. And so I think it's important that kids learn how to swim and to know about water and so forth. We do the different shout outs where students do different things at the elementary school. Our JROTC program, hopefully you've seen where they present the colors and do different things. Different math games, down here to the far left, Emily Overstreet and what she does with her elementary art students. I think we have the best elementary art team in the United States. Your students in the middle, your CNA students. They are students that are going out to get their CNA license and they're doing their clinicals. That picture was taken when they had on their blue scrubs and they came to get their official IDs so they could go out and begin their clinicals and so forth. And then just here, one of our elementary kids that just went out on the playground and posed for a picture. So it's good. All right, Mr. Cindy, I think that's it. Now it's time for questions. Does anyone have a question? Okay.
Listen, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Dr. Jones and Dr. Jameson are the primary reason that we have a brand new track and we have brand new bleachers. And if you haven't seen it yet, you can go up and look at the school and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was zero cost to the county. It was done through grants because they know how to fight the grants. We got the money and we got a brand new track and brand new bleachers.
Thank you for that. With one of the things there, the school, the outdoor seating at the track and so forth, it's all about the wording in the brain. Had been on the capital improvement project for 20 plus years. And at some point you keep putting it or you do something about it. And the same way with the track. So what we did when we were able to get these grant funds is at no cost to a locality, because I've been here 21 years, so I understand. If we can get this project accomplished with grant funds, let's do it. Because it's all about making things accessible. On a personal note, I have a wife with a disability. She has multiple sclerosis. We have beautiful days and we have not so beautiful days. Sometimes we're just quote-unquote a hot mess and different things. So I need to make sure if someone like my wife, Leanne, wants to come to an event, she has accessibility to go to the event. And then with the track and so forth, our kids do a lot with track and so forth, and to make sure that they have options. So if we can make the dollars work, we work to do that. Yes, sir.
This would be great. Just resources, I don't live in town, but for instance, with high school later on, when they're older, do you think that maybe some of these opportunities like the 4x4, maybe sports, something like that, would be available for homeschool children?
That, maybe. It just depends on there's laws that govern that and so forth. So I think every year there's a homeschool law and different things that come out before the legislator. Students are able to participate in their activities if they at least take 4 classes and so forth. So there are options. Anyone else?
That's going to be a tough act to follow. You can see right here, this is a perfect example of Dr. Jones and I's ability to work well together. So I guided his presentation through the computer slides, and he's going to do the same for me. And I can tell you, as your county administrator, I have the pleasure of serving here in Cumberland County. One of my main philosophies as your county administrator is to ensure that we have a positive working relationship between county administration and school administration. And I can tell you that we have that here. And collectively, the county accomplished so much working together versus not. And I just want to thank Dr. Jones for helping bring that philosophy and increasing our ability to work effectively together. So thank you very much. That being said, I'm going to jump right into our presentation this evening. The slides that I have for you now is related to our second section of information. And one of the primary goals and objectives that I've heard since our board has come on in January was to increase our community engagement and our transparency with our residents. So we've taken some great strides. We were doing a fairly good job before, but we've added live streaming to public meetings where actually, if you turn around and look, there's a camera right there. We are live streaming and recording right now at this town hall. We also have started live streaming our board meetings and our planning commission meetings as well. And you can actually go onto our YouTube channel and access those at any time. So it's not just in the heat of the moment. If you want to go and look at those videos at a later time, they are posted permanently on that YouTube website. You can actually scroll over our main page and actually click on our live streaming logo there. I got that in the middle of the slide there. Down in the bottom left-hand corner of the website, you can click on that and actually be directed to our YouTube channel. The board has worked to add additional public comment opportunities during the board meetings. They've recently amended their bylaws to include public comment at the beginning of the meeting related to items on the agenda that are there for public business. We're here tonight at a town hall meeting. So this is another example of additional transparency on behalf of the county. We're always looking at ways to improve our county website. We're actually going to be going for a website refresh here in the next couple of months. More on that later. But also, if you want to stay really in what's going on, I would encourage you to go to our website, create an account, and sign in so that you can receive text alerts. So anytime that we provide county news or updates or press releases, those get sent out via text. So that way you can stay plugged in with what's going on in the county. We also have several Facebook pages. Track through those. We also have print media. If you look on the table as you came in tonight, that is our community guide that we produce 3 times per year. And that is a comprehensive source of information as it relates to the public schools, what's going on there, our Parks and Rec department, as well as our community partners, human services related functions such as Piedmont Senior Resources and things of that nature. So, in addition, lastly, I do have a spot on WFLO about every 6 weeks where I go on radio for about 20 minutes and provide updates and highlights as to what's going on with the county. So we're always looking for ways to increase engagement and transparency. And if you come up with something that we haven't, we want to hear from you. What's a good way to do that? Moving along, I just wanted to touch base with everyone on the county budget process. And if you've got your handouts, or if you can see it up here on the screen, what I'm trying to do is break this down visually for you. This isn't the process for this year, but this is what a typical year would look like in terms of how we move through the county's budget process. And the process typically begins in October. Here we are, September 24th. We're going to be kicking this off very soon. It's hard to believe we can get a budget adopted and pretty much turn right into the next budget development cycle. So the process begins in October. And we typically complete it in mid-April of the following year. And department requests are considered, we do go to each individual department. We provide them parameters and direction as to how to request funding for the subsequent year justifications. And then department requests are considered. We look at our revenue estimates, we analyze those, and we prepare everything for a review. And then from there, we follow the flow chart. We do hold multiple workshops between county departments where they get to meet with board supervisors and submit their requests. We also meet with our constitutional officers as well as our local contribution funding for agencies such as Piedmont Senior Resources, STEPS, organizations such as those. We also hold budget workshops related to our capital improvement program, as well as our operational revenue and overall expenditures. From there, we really look at, we meet with the school board to hear their projected budget. Board meets with the schools to discuss that funding request. And then ultimately the board, after their workshops, will actually set the tax rate, advertise the tax rate, which leads to the ultimate budget adoption. So it's a pretty lengthy process one that I wanted to highlight here, so that if you wanted to be a part of that process, we invite you to do so. So please stay plugged in. Just wanted to break down via a pie chart what our general fund expenditures really look like as a county. So if you look at our budget really is a reflection of priorities. And the two largest slices of this pie are the school transfer, which Dr. Jones talked about, that commingling of state, federal, and local transfer funds. You can see that the school transfer is 28%, public safety is about 25%, so 53% of all of our funding goes to our two main priorities. One other item is our debt service, and I'm going to touch a little bit more on that later. But debt service right now is 14% of our general fund expenditures. So you can see how the rest of the pie is divvied up. Those are very small numbers. So we're working with limited resources, and we always try to work to maximize the tax dollars to the best of our ability. And we are going to have ongoing challenges as we work through the budget moving forward. Inflation, the cost of doing business, is only going to continue to rise. We can't continue to fund things at a level where we're not addressing how much it costs to do business. Education costs continue to increase based upon the ability to pay, the DOE calculation that Dr. Jones mentioned earlier. In order for us to continue to fund schools in the manner that we are, that DOE calculation can change each year, and we have to make adjustments so that they don't lose some of their state match funding. Dr. Jones is in the same boat with us. We have to compete for salaries and other costs to retain teachers, sheriff's deputies, and county staff. I can't say enough about how great our deputies are. And we have unbelievable staff here in Cumberland. They're the most dedicated, knowledgeable, and good people you're going to meet. They really do care about moving this county forward and doing a great job on your behalf. And we have to do everything we can to try to retain those folks. We do have aging infrastructure, and we're going to have to address that for our capital plan. We also do have unfunded mandates that impact county services and requirements. A lot of things we have to spend money on, we don't have a choice. We are told by the state, by the Commonwealth of Virginia, that we have to meet certain mandates. And I touched already on the debt service, and again, we'll talk about that later. One thing I did want to touch on with everyone this evening was that during our fiscal year 25 budget process, the Board of Supervisors did lower the real estate tax rate from 75 cents to 60. And that was tied to that 4-year reassessment that took place last year. And as you may know, our assessments are reassessed every 4 years. State code requires it to be done every 6, we do it every 4. That's done by a third-party vendor. We contract that out. And there's a whole process associated with the reassessment process. And as part of that reassessment, the board did lower the rate to 60 cents. All counties in the region felt this impact. This wasn't a Cumberland-specific issue. It was an issue felt throughout the region, whether it was Prince Edward, Lunenburg, Buckingham. All of the counties felt the same kind of pain in terms of the reassessments. But if you look at the real estate tax rates within the region, you can see that Cumberland is now more in line with its neighboring localities. And you can see that 60, I got a star on it there. We used to be at 75 cents, which would have placed us right here. So it's a major accomplishment to move the needle to the middle of the pack. That being said, we lowered the tax rate, and we're going through the budget process. One of the priorities of the board was, okay, we need to bring economic developments in this county to help alleviate the burden of taxation on our residents. Okay? And one of the first things that the board tasked me with was to create a new business task force. And the new business task force was created as an arm of the EDA, or Economic Development Authority. So it's comprised of 2 board members, 3 EDA members, and 2 at-large members of the community. And the focus has been to identify and generate opportunities for our residents, to generate opportunities for new business and existing businesses, to enhance what's already here, but also to maintain the agricultural feel and character of the county. So we are proactively seeking ways, again, to reduce the burden on the taxpayer. And the focus of the task force has been really on, we focused on 5 major issues, and that's focused on tourism, economic development, strategic planning. We've recently completed 2 grants, 2 separate grants, one to the Virginia Tobacco Commission and one to the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services for a strategic planning grant for economic development specific to agriculture. We want to bring in businesses that enhance our very strong ag identity, and we don't want to develop into something that we're not. So, more to come on that. I am expecting to hear some news related to those grants in the next couple of weeks. We're focusing on workforce development. We have to make sure that we're developing the folks here that are available for business that they want to come into the county. We have to make sure that we have a workforce here that can meet the needs of businesses. As part of that strategic planning effort, we're going to be actively recruiting the grocery store and addressing our status as a food desert. You may or may not know that Cumberland meets the definition of a food desert. And part of our agriculturally focused economic development strategic plan, one of the priorities is addressing food access. So that's being taken very seriously. The task force is also focusing on grants and business improvement. And we're really hoping to roll out a lot more initiatives. We've really been working on the foundational marketing and foundational development of this task force efforts in the past several months. Really going to be rolling out and seeing a lot more traction and a lot more results-based efforts here in the fall of 2024 and the winter of 2025. So a lot of good work going on there, and I believe we have some EDA members in the audience tonight and some task force members as well. So appreciate you being here. I know I'm jumping around a lot. We've got a lot of information to share with you this evening. Some public safety updates. Some of you may be aware that we entered into an agreement with the Virginia State Police earlier this year to begin implementing a new radio system project. That project is moving forward. We will be on the State Police's STARS network, the statewide agency's radio program. And a couple of years ago, we did restructure some debt to help pay for this project. We're able to restructure some county debt at no impact to the taxpayer, carved out about $2 million for the project. The equipment components will actually be utilizing the State Police's cooperative contract with Motorola, and we finalized the actual order from Motorola. Once that's executed, it'll be probably a 6 to 8 month process of ordering and bringing in components of the radio system and outfitting all of our sheriff's deputies vehicles for animal control, our ambulances, and all of our fire department apparatus with the volunteer fire department. There will be some costs associated with the installation of the radio system components, as well as some communications infrastructure. We're looking at potentially adding a tower behind the sheriff's office, and that will be an expenditure that we've got to account for as well. We're very early in that process, but we're looking to nail that down. The beauty of this project about partnering with the state police is the tremendous amount of savings that we're going to see to the county. And I really believe that I'll understate these in some respects. But if we were to do this on our own, we would have to hire our own project manager. We would have to hire a firm to help us design and handle the install. The state police, they're going to handle all of that for us. They're going to service the project manager. They're going to handle the design and work with our local public safety providers to get us on the system. Additionally, from an operational standpoint, they're going to handle all the system upgrades. If we were to do this ourselves, if we ever had to meet a state or federal mandate as it related to the radio system, we would be on the hook for handling that ourselves. Because we're on the state police system, they do that for us, and they do it at no charge. Ongoing maintenance would reduce our long-term operational costs for Cumberland. Right now, our IT director, Daniel Riddle, he currently works with our Sheriff's Department and all our public safety agencies to go in and handle issues with our radios. That would no longer be the case. That would free them up to focus on other opportunities IT-wise. State police would handle all that. Now, the county savings is really between $1.75 and $2.5 million at the end of the day if we were going to have to handle all of that ourselves from a project management standpoint. So it's a good savings for the county. It's going to be a great project once we're done here over the next 7 months. safety updates. Everyone is aware of the situation with the Amish buggy incident and sharing the road signs that we see throughout the county. And we have been working actively with VDOT to identify and provide signage for heavily traveled areas of the county. We've been working to identify locations where that traffic is heading and to address issues on the roads. We're also going to be working extensively with our public school system on a public education campaign, as well as with other local partners. If you actually look in your guide, that was, if you pick one up this evening, the program guide, we actually included some share the road information. So that's an example of ongoing public education. Ultimately, you can't prevent every accident, but if you can make one person aware and save one life, it's worth every effort that we make. We're also going to be working to determine solutions for sharing the road regionally. Again, a lot of the issues we face here in Cumberland are not specific to us. They are regional issues. So there are large Amish populations in both Buckingham and Charlotte County, and we'll be continuing to have dialogue with those counties as well to see if we can solve this problem together. So, additionally, Cumberland courthouse safety. One of the constant feedback items that I know that I receive running the board is heard this as well, is the issue of speed and safety throughout the courthouse village. And the speed and safety study was recently conducted by VDOT, and they have identified areas where they can actually reduce the speed. I'd be glad to share additional information on this if you're interested, but also to increase signage as well throughout the courthouse and some potential remarkings of pavement on the road. We're currently evaluating other options for improving safety, including potentially speed cameras and other VDOT alternative options, what they call traffic calming and safety. Additionally, we're looking at potentially adding crosswalks and street lighting if there are grant funds. None of this would be done without public engagement, community engagement. So these are all just being considered right now. We're looking at how we can improve safety. This is my last section. If we have questions. But I wanted to provide a broadband update to everyone this evening because I feel like that there have been a slew of phone calls and questions from the public on where we are with broadband. And our broadband initiative is primarily focused on two different companies. I'll get more into that later. There's actually 3 active companies that have active broadband efforts to Cumberland. And that's Firefly Connects and NBC, that's Midway Broadband Communities. And just to give you a reminder, $586,000 is been committed to county funds for the broadband effort. And when you combine the NBC effort and the Firefly and Connects broadband effort, it represents an investment of $32 million in broadband technology in Cumberland County. And what I've got here is actually a map of the NBC network. And NBC, I'm not going to bore you too much with this, but NBC specializes in middle mile fiber. Middle mile fiber is a beefier fiber that allows Firefly Connects to transfer the data quickly, large amounts of data from point A to point B. And you see this yellowish line here, this is actually Farmville here, and this is Louisa County, right along 64, and here we are. This stretch of that middle mile fiber is actively being engineered and installed as we speak, and that was done. About $16.4 million was awarded by the federal government as part of a grant opportunity to complete that project. We've got 2 maps here as part of this broadband update. The map on the left is Firefly, and the map on the right is Connects. The best way to describe this is primarily north of Route 60 is Firefly, and there's some areas where Connects plugs in, and areas south of Route 60 are Connects. Okay? It may be hard to see on the map. You can actually go to our website, pull these maps up on our broadband update, and we'll actually have updated maps here shortly. And you can see how the Firefly map is broken down into a bunch of different sections. And that is primarily tied to how they were able to apply for and receive grant funding. So you're going to have certain sections of the county that has that fiber lit before others. You may be across the street from someone who has fiber. I know that's frustrating because I'm in the same boat. But it's all based upon how the grants and the territories are divvied up and how it's installed. So there's no control that the county has over this. It's all based upon the timing of these individual projects. I mean, you can see right here, This section here is live. The sections to the north of the county, they are live as well. What I've been told is by 2025, I feel like we say this every year, a year from now, we're going to have broadband. But I can assure you, we have meetings on this probably every 2 weeks. And we're constantly getting updates, we're constantly asking questions, and we're constantly pushing in a good way that these contractors work their way through the community and provide opportunities. So if you're wondering if you have Firefly Connects or when you may have that fiber lit up, this is the contact information. So you can go to Firefly's website, or you can call their main number here, the customer service number, press option 1, or you can email them directly. For Connects, there's a contact number there. You press option number 7. If you call them, there's their actual website as well. If you call the county, I'm going to probably just try to get the information this way as well. So to save a step, I encourage you to try that first. If you're not getting anywhere with the companies, then reach out to me and we'll try to get you connected so that we can figure out an answer for you as to when your Firefly or your Connects is going to be active. So with that, be glad to take any questions.
You have a question list? We do have some people who have signed up. I'd like to remind you to keep your remarks to 3 minutes. I'll be reading the names and watching the time, so I have 2 jobs to see how well I do. And please keep your remarks to the information that was provided for section 1. Now, if you have a question that doesn't relate to something in section 1, hold on to it. We'll see if it appears in section 2. If not, as Mr. Stamey said, we'll have an opportunity to send in your questions and he'll find some answers. The first person is Betty Myers.
Good evening. My question is pretty simple. On the regulatory process, I was raising the large. Is it on?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good. On the budgetary process, if we as citizens attend the workshop, are we permitted to ask questions?
During workshops, we do not have public comment. However, the proper time is during the regularly scheduled board meetings or during the public hearing portion of the budget process.
But that's really not fair to the citizens because sometimes it's best time to ask the questions whenever you think of it.
Right. I would encourage you to reach out via email or call me directly. And what we can do as part of the budget process is make sure that we loop in everyone, or loop in the community as the ways to reach out to contact county administration to get information.
Okay. Because I think that's part of the transparency. Because I recall 1 year since I lived here where the state paid everybody a 5% pay raise and the county people got the same pay raise. And I think that should be looked at a little bit differently because all personnel got performed the same. And so I think that's one of my key things I'd like to address. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person is Gina Morgan. Marks. If I mispronounce your name, please forgive me.
In the budget process, and with this Green Ridge project out there, is any of their monies being calculated into the upcoming budget?
No, ma'am. Since I've been here, and I believe my predecessor had the same approach, that the Green Ridge project did not have any bearing on how the budget was developed or recommended ultimately to the board. Yes, sir. John Seal.
Good evening. As a member of the new business development task force, I want to thank you for having this meeting tonight. Really appreciate us having a forum where we can all speak. I think that's very important to maintain transparency for this community. One of the things that I want to remind everybody, as well as the question, is to make sure that we're open for business. I want to make sure that we're developing a good reputation in the communities and the surrounding counties to make sure that we're looking at every opportunity to, one, grow our county, whether it's jobs or opportunities for the family as well. I was told the saying, I guess you'd say, failing to plan is planning to fail. So I think that's a great thing that we're doing this and we're moving forward. Not to get on another one, but that's business. Objects of motion tend to remain in motion. I know every business might not be what we all desire, but we have to make an assessment, risk versus reward, and I think, and I hope that everybody's on the same page that if it gives us opportunity in the county, we should embrace everything equally pertaining to the laws of the state of Virginia and look at those accordingly, make a decision in the county. That what we see that's as our fiduciary responsibility to our residents, as well as making sure the county can grow. Thank you.
Someone that lives on Highway Trail.
My name is Gunnar.
Gunnar.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, Gunnar has a very time. I have kind of two brief things. First off, thanks for being so welcoming here in Cumberland County. I'm very new. Been here for about 3 years. I enjoyed a lot in the Midwest, and I encountered something here in Cumberland County I'd never encountered before. That was a power outage. So it was kind of shocking. It was the winter 3 years ago, and before I had my now, thank God, wood set put into my house. But my power was up for 7 days in December. I was like, oh my God. I don't care about kids, the wife, and all that stuff. But I was wondering if, with the initiatives for broadband, for Firefly, and these other companies, if there's, a way that, the county can leverage as part of the broadband program to get these power companies to make our infrastructure better by burying the power lines like they do in West Virginia. Because, we have vulnerable people out there with elderly, people with young children, and, my wife and our kids were able to we'll just, drive to grandma and grandpa's house, but a lot of people don't have that option. And then the only other thing that I've been thinking about was in terms of, people are feeling much more economically pinched, just as time goes on, and I know that people always place a lot of their, hopes and dreams and stuff like that every 4 years when whatever useless election comes along. But do you think that there is a way that we could possibly set aside grant money for, people in Cumberland County to just give them a little bit of money for chicken feed seed starters, encouraging people to do their own home gardening, maybe even getting a public county community garden going, and that would be perfectly paired with the up and coming farmers market, because I think that as well as being a food desert, is that freeing ourselves from being reliant on a food line or a grocery store or anything like that. That's all fine and good. I understand those are good things, but to have people be more nutritionally independent is probably what Cumberland County needs more than a grocery store. So that's all I have to say.
All right, well, I can answer both parts of that. I try to do my best. I covered a lot of ground. It's okay. Right now, the county is serviced by 3 electric companies: Dominion, CVEC, and Southside. Okay, so it's interesting in emergency management. You try to communicate power outages. I know I send updates to the board and things of that nature, but we can do a better job of pushing out information, and that's one of the things I want to focus on, especially as it pertains to emergency services, as to power restoration, how you can check that information to get up-to-date information. We've recently sent out a press release related to power outages, and it outlined how you can check that. Now, as far as burying lines, a lot of the fiber that's going in has been placed on the overhead lines. So to go back and bury, that's going to be a tough sell.
Oh, no.
In fact,
You do it.
not
I can roll the thing more if I knew my power was going to go out.
I understand. Cumberland Hardware sells generators, so if you want to go to Cumberland Hardware, I'm sure they can hook you up. So, that, as far as going back and burying lines, I think that would be a tough sell. Not to bore you all with some of the local government stuff that we deal with. The power companies were actually trying to go back to the fiber companies at one time and making them pay once they put the fiber infrastructure on the poles after the fact. After all of this was approved, and luckily that didn't come to fruition because that would jack everybody's rates up. I got worried with it. But segueing into the second half of your question, we have great community partners in this community. We've got Cumberland Cares, we've got STEPS, we've got Piedmont Senior Resources. A lot of these resources that do the very things that you're talking about are already doing it. Awesome. And if you look at that guide, we have all that information. That guide serves as a conduit to all of our services. And the county and the board has done a great job of supporting these organizations. As part of the budget process, they come in each year and they request funding from the board. And the board does a great job of vetting their requests, making sure they're audited, things of that nature. And they fund those opportunities. It's just getting the word out so that there's an awareness to the community.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, absolutely. So.
So my question is, and it's a kind of a roundabout question. We've got somebody here from the sheriff's department, don't we? I saw someone here earlier. From what I understand, we've got like 3 deputy sheriffs ready to retire, and I know that it's very competitive with Cumberland and the surrounding counties. And a question came to mind, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, as far as merit increases or salary bumps. And that ties into outstanding taxes. And I looked at the latest update was in August, and I think through 2024, real estate property tax or real estate taxes are $420,000 on a round down, and then property taxes a little bit more than I think they're half a million. You go 2 years back to that, and it starts to settle down. So collections are. Is there any way to kind of, I guess that the 2 years, 2024, 2023, could kind of be a grace period for someone who's struggling to pay their taxes or making arrangements? But if you take those 2 years out of the equation, with both property taxes and real estate taxes, you have right at $300,000, $280,000. And is that something that, if we're not counting that in the budget, is that something we could probably do a better job at collecting and maybe give some of the, whether it be in the county's administration or public service, i.e. the sheriff's department or EMS, use that money as maybe merit increases or however that being possible?
I'm going to do my best to answer both parts of that question as well. As far as collections go, I'm not going to speak for our treasurer. He's an elected official. He's not here this evening. But I do know that he has taken proactive steps to increase collection ability. And by that I mean, if the board authorized a couple of months back that we utilize third-party contractors to assist us in collections. So we are taking proactive steps to collect taxes that are owed. Okay? And there are programs in place, and I'm not going to speak for Mr. Pfeiffer, but I know that he does make efforts to work with folks to create a payment plan if folks are having a hardship, things of that nature. So I do know that those types of efforts exist. But as far as, ultimately the board has to decide the priorities within the budget. And so they would have to look at, as we move through the budget process, how we prioritize merit increases and increases to our deputies in our public safety. That's going to be a challenge for all of the localities in the region because, unfortunately, you essentially saw what I would call an arms race that took place in Chesterfield and Rico and the city of Richmond, where salaries for starting deputies really went through the roof. And it really was. It was a turf war. And it's still over. And it's spilled over into counties like Goochland and Powhatan. And that impacts us because we have deputies, quite frankly, that can go to those localities and are willing to drive. I can't blame them. So we have to make sure that we take into consideration turnover, the cost of training deputies, and really look at this from an administrative standpoint, from the board standpoint. How do we deal with this problem? And I know that last year the board did adjust the compensation for deputies, the hiring rate, and there were some other adjustments made. The board just recently voted on the VRS accelerator to help with recruitment and retention of officers so that they would receive more funding in retirement. So there are things like that that we are proactively looking at to put in place so that we can recruit and retain deputies. So, thanks.
Our last speaker, Robin. Hi there, I'm Robin Caputo. I think I'm newer than you. I have a little bit. So I am a newcomer, my family here. We're at Newstead in Cartersville. We live in the old Gamage house. You guys all know Barbara Gamage, her family grew up there. We are so happy to be here. We've been here about 2.5 years. We lived through that same storm, lost our power for 7 days, and now have a generator too. I'm on the Economic Development Authority, and I want to tell you all what kind of gem you have here in Cumberland. We moved here from Colorado. We have died and gone to heaven. And it is because of you. It's because of the people here. You met, I think, half of the folks here. Tommy Moore was one of the first people I met here, and he showed me how to plant corn with a string over it so that birds wouldn't come after my corn. Right? You remember that? Yeah. So, I mean, and everyone here shares the difference of the community here compared to Colorado. People go, oh my goodness, you moved to Colorado? How gorgeous. Are you kidding? I look out my house and I have a more beautiful picture than where I live in Colorado. Our whole family's here. My son, Joey, has moved back here. He's going to make Newstead his legacy home. We've got people, land, and ideas here. What we have to do now is execute on these ideas. We've got some big ideas that are going to take a lot of work, all of us coming together. And one of the hard parts is how do you keep this agricultural rural feel, but also bring in some businesses to help us pay for some of this, to pay for the services, to pay for inflation. And so one of my questions has been, compared to other counties around us, what percentage of our revenue comes from sales tax? Because I know a lot of it comes from property and real estate. What percentage of it comes from sales tax? I'm not sure people understand it takes businesses, right, to come in and have us and people from outside of Cumberland come in and pay that sales tax. And that's how we get services here, and that's how we get our taxes at a reasonable level. So, that question.
That was a tough one. Honestly, I don't have the information in front of you, so I'm not going to make it up. I'll get back to you in the exact amount, and in fact, I will actually, when we post the slides, we'll actually include that information. Percentage-wise, our finance, our assistant county administrator for finance is here. I don't know if she even knows that answer off the top of her head, but we need to do some digging. But to your point, one of the reasons that the new business task force has focused on tourism is to benefit the businesses that are here. We want folks to come to a wonderful county, stay for the day, no offense, not send their kids to school here, and because this is the best kept secret, okay? Schools are the best kept secret. We want folks to come here, spend their money, and go home, and then have a good experience so that they tell their friends. So that we have folks constantly coming in and spending their money. A rising tide lifts all boats, no doubt. So that's really one of the focuses of the new business task force, is to position the county in a positive way to bring folks in and and spend their money here and to help. I'd really be curious as we move through this process, to your point, of the new business task force and our efforts on tourism and the initiatives related to that and the agriculturally based businesses. In 5 years, what percentage do we get to? How does that increase? How effective were we? You don't improve if you don't try. So that's what we've been doing. So. All right. We're going to go into the next section. All right. The third and final section of information that I have for you this evening, we're going to start with Cobb's Creek. This is an aerial photo and an overlay of what Cobb's Creek will look like once it is completed. And just to give you some background on the project, this is a Henrico County project. This isn't a Cumberland County project. So, as of last count, I'm sure this number is much higher at this point, but Henrico County's project related to Cobb's Creek is about $280 million. And includes a 1,117 acre reservoir. And at one time, I don't know if it's still the case, I'll have to go back and check, but it was the largest earth-moving related construction project on the East Coast. This project began back in June of 2017. Estimated completion per Henrico is December of this year. Now, they've had some issues with filling the reservoir. There's been some drought this year, and they are working with DEQ to allow them to fill the reservoir. Right now, I believe, I don't know if Stephanie's here, they're about 50 feet below. Is that accurate?
They're about at elevation 280, and completely full would be at elevation 355.
Okay, so they're about 75 feet below full elevation. So this is a project I know Stephanie's going to be excited when it's done. She spends a lot of her time out there. One of the many hats that she wears is our erosion and sediment inspector, and she's out there every week for several hours, I believe every Thursday or Friday, checking in with Cobb's Creek and making sure they're following the rules. So their annual compensation to the county is $1.131 million. And as part of our agreement with Henrico County and the DEQ permit, the county does receive a daily allotment of 7 million gallons a day. Now that means we would be able to tap into that, but we still have to compensate Henrico for that cost of gallons per day. Now right now, Henrico has agreements with multiple localities in Central Virginia. Among them are Hanover, Goochland. They also have an agreement with Palatine. So wherever they land, it's not like each county has a different figure. It's across the board what they charge each locality for each gallon per day. So we would be on the. We also, if the county were to engage in trying to pull that water out of the reservoir as a county project, we would have to fund all of the infrastructure related to that. One piece of good news is the reservoir will be accessible as a public fishing area, and it includes a pretty extensive boat ramp. If you haven't been up there, it's pretty cool to look at. It's actually a large concrete ramp with poles that extend up in the air, and the actual pier can rise and lower with the level of the water. It's pretty incredible. We're currently, we haven't dived into this too much with the new business task force, but we are currently evaluating opportunities to utilize that daily allotment water. We don't know, first of all, you got to find the money to do it, you got to find the right use, right? So we're having some conversations at a high level with what we could potentially use that daily allotment for. If you've got any questions specific to the project, there is a link. It's henrico.gov/project/Cobb's Creek Reservoir. They've got drone footage. They've got very cool videos if you're interested in it. I don't know, it's an engineering marvel to me, so if you're interested, I encourage you to check that out. Remember the courthouse. We talked about courthouse safety improvements, but we didn't talk about the courthouse specifically. And just so you're aware, the county has engaged the Virginia Department of General Services and an architectural firm. This has been going on probably a year, performing a comprehensive analysis of the existing courthouse building, as well as all court and public safety related operations. We're not only looking at the facility, we're looking at how we operate. And the building was built in the 1850s, I believe, and it's been renovated on the inside, but it's scoring very poorly. I included the score here over to the right, and a poor score is 0 to 59, and as a whole, the score is 52.7. So again, see the building condition and the building systems are fair, and that's really attributable to our maintenance staff. We've got unbelievable maintenance staff that maintain our buildings, and they're doing a great job with what they've got. But if you look at security, space functionality, space standards, and technology, the building scores very poorly. And I want to be clear, when we say that security is scoring poorly, it's not a reflection on who's implementing the security. It's not a reflection on the sheriff's office. It's just a reflection on the building and how security is handled through the building. Program components and potential options for addressing this issue are still in development for consideration. We're still working with the architecture firm to firm up not only potential options for addressing it, but also firming up the cost estimates. Right now, cost estimates are very high level, and it's per square foot. Okay, it's hard to drill down and bring to the public at this time what those cost estimates will be, because they're going to change. Right now, you're looking at about $600 a square foot for courthouse renovation or construction, and that can change all the time. It's really market-based. At some point in the future, if the board decides to move forward with addressing this situation, it will have to be a consideration as part of our debt service. And we're going to talk about debt service in a moment. Next item for discussion is the Green Ridge project. And I just wanted to let everyone know the most up-to-date updates on the project can be found on the EDA's website. DEQ website, DEQVirginia.gov, topics of interest, Green Ridge landfill, as well as the GreenRidgeVA.com update. And that's their webpage to provide balance to the equation. We did provide DEQ's webpage as well. We will be updating the county webpage as well as we receive additional information. Now, we have received a preliminary application for their conditional use permit, but it is not complete at this time. Once it's completed and it's deemed complete, then we can post that publicly on our webpage. There's some things that have to be addressed as part of their application. Once that application is deemed complete, then it proceeds through the county process. Vetting by staff, meetings with the planning commission, meetings with the board, and then bringing that through to the planning commission for public hearing and to the board for public hearing. So our job is to shepherd it through the process, and hopefully where it lands, will be a board decision. So based upon what the approved CUP was back in 2018 versus what's proposed, this information actually comes from their own website. Some notable changes are previously approved project was a single liner. They're proposing a double liner now. 650 acres of disposal area versus 350. 5,000 max tons per day versus 3,500. Pine Grove Road being relocated versus not relocated. 24/7 operations, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. operations, 5.5 days a week. No out-of-state trash, 16 full-time positions. No gypsum or sludge, and no change that they brought to the county for consideration was free antifreeze and no recycling. That's currently not offered by the county at this point, it would be offered as part of their proposal. When projects come to the board for evaluation, I touched on it earlier, staff has to shepherd this through the process to make sure that we're meeting our obligations as counties legally to review these proposals. And as part of that, we have to weigh the pros and the cons. And one of the things we look at is the economic impact of the county. So from an operating standpoint, we have to look at any type of waste disposal that we are currently contracting out as a county. And if you look at our budget over the previous 3 years, waste disposal costs have skyrocketed. I mean, we were budgeting $500,000 a couple of years ago, and it's all the way up to about $750,000 for operating budget. You're only going to see that increase. So that's more or less a savings on the operating side. There's some taxes related to the project, the minimum tipping fees for $400,000. I know that as part of this proposal, they agreed to provide scholarships for the schools, $25,000 for Parks and Rec, and $100,000 for personnel. So the projected annual economic impact of the county with revenue, operational savings and support is approximately $1.3 million. And then the Green Ridge support received since the prior CP approval in 2018 is about $800,000. And that was after the adoption of the CP, $400,000 prepayment $100,000 donation to support public safety, $250,000 for parks, and approximately $64,000 for school support events for scholarships and management funds. And again, this project, once the project is deemed to have a complete application, we will post that information on the website and begin that process of evaluation. So we touched on debt service and revenue before. Our debt service, and this is from a slide previously, school transfer and public safety piece, about 53% of the pie. Our debt service, and this is going to be a huge consideration as we move through the budget process, is 14% of our general fund expenditures. And a large portion of our debt is education-related debt. And that rolls off in 2031. And we touched on the courthouse option, that may require debt service as well. So if we look at, we have to look at everything from a 30,000-foot view. So we talked about the Green Bridge project. There's an impact there, and then the new business task force. That's TBD. We don't know what that impact is going to be yet, but there are opportunities here that we have to review, we have to consider, not only from a project standpoint, but from a budget standpoint as we move through this process. And I wanted to lay all of this information out here so that residents were aware of what we were dealing with. On a lighter note, we have some upcoming county and community events that I wanted to make you all aware of. We do have our tire recycling day, which is coming up Saturday, October 5th from 7 a.m. to noon at the Luther P. Jackson Complex. There are some limitations related to that program. We ask that you keep the 50 tires per household. I think I'm okay. A lot of folks may have more tires than I do. We ask that you take the tires off the rim. No commercial tires, no equipment tires, no tractor tires. We do ask that you provide proof to residents because we do have to pay for this service. We want to make sure that Cumberland residents are receiving the benefit. So if you've got some tires, bring them out that day. We'll welcome you with open arms. We have a trunk or treat event on Friday, October 25th. This will be our fourth. I'm looking at the back. Count's keeping me straight. Our fourth event. It has grown significantly. I believe last year we had 1,500. That's on 1,500 attendees. It's a great event for the community. We see a lot of our community partners out of the schools. What was your theme last year? Service. Very fitting, right? You were the ringmaster, that's right. I remember now. Okay. So, yes, ma'am.
If they would like to participate, you can also sign up to have a table or a trunk with me.
Yes. Thank you for that shout out. If you'd like to participate in the trunk or treat, if you've got an organization, if you just want to participate as a family, you can sign up and register. And our staff's doing a great job of putting that all together. And it's going to be a fun, family-friendly event. It's gaining popularity, and we invite you to that. It's Friday, October 25th, from 6 to 8 p.m., and it's going to be at the Luther P. Jackson Complex as well. Also this year, we'll have our third annual holiday tree lighting, which will be on the front lawn of the courthouse, Friday, December 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. And we'll have s'mores, hot chocolate, and other activities, good fun activities for the family. We had about 300 last year, and it's been pretty stable the first 2 years, but we invite you to that as well. It's another great opportunity to celebrate the season as a community. Lights in the Lake. You may not be aware of this program. I hope that you are. If you're not, here's your opportunity. Lights in the Lake is a Bear Creek Lake Park coordinated event. I know there's a lot of volunteer efforts that go into that. It's a very cool program. I believe it actually starts the same night as the tree lighting. So that's some great synergy there. We invite you to participate in that event and drive through Bear Creek. Also, you're probably wondering what this giant barcode is doing up here. Our Parks and Rec Director, Samantha Pankey, has done a great job, a wonderful job, putting together a whole slate of activities. Just today, we took a group of seniors to Carter Mountain, I believe, as part of a program. So we've got a lot of great senior activities going on. We've got a lot of great opportunities for partnering with our youth leagues. We actually have a weight room. If you're interested in joining our weight room, there's a very small nominal fee. each month. And I don't know if you've met Samantha, but she actually does some physical training work. She works at the schools as well. She's a phenomenal person and a phenomenal professional. She has so much stuff that we can't fit it all on the screen. So we gave you the QR code. It's actually in the magazine as well. And you know what they say about print? It's out of date the minute you print it. This, if it ever changes, it's up to date on this QR code. You can also visit the Cumberland County Parks and Rec website as well. But I just wanted to take that opportunity to highlight the great programs. So with that, you can take questions.
I'm not on the list. I'm here with the branch of David project. I'm Muriel Branch with the AMMD Pilot Project, and I have a ton of questions. Who do I get those questions to? Okay. And we have an upcoming walkathon and a schoolyard jamboree on November 2nd at the newly renovated Pine Grove Elementary School. It is a Tuskegee Roosevelt school. It is one of the oldest in the county. And so we're looking forward to working with the economic development because we got ideas.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to get you in a guide as well.
Our next speaker is Betty Myers.
Hi, my name, I'm gonna ask about Pond Creek first, believe it or not, okay?
Okay.
There's been a lot of discussion among the residents about who, if there's a water, how's the water gonna work for these homes that's anticipated to be put into that area? Is the county gonna have to pay for it, or are we as residents gonna have to pay for it? Is that fair to us? I mean, one time I attended an EDA meeting where they talked about as people bought their homes, then they would be responsible for paying for the water for that area.
Right now, there's no current hookup. There's no current system in place. So anybody who builds a home out there would be on well. Until there's an actual tap that we can pull water out of the creek to our county residents, they won't be pulling out of Cops Creek. They would have to pull from the well.
So it would be their own cost.
Yes, ma'am.
expense for the private wells.
Yes, ma'am.
That brings up the second question, with all of our surrounding counties looking at drawing water from this, reservoir, should we need it. Are these counties looking at the possibility of the water becoming contaminated if it goes through, if the landfill comes in and they have to go through that area? Because this is the river, that's coming down and it's going to flow into right across into there. And if the water gets contaminated from the landfill, it's going to contaminate that water. Does anybody look at that?
I can't speak for what other localities have looked at. I do know that the entire project is overseen by Henrico County and DEQ. So if there were any concerns on their part, they would be the ones responsible for evaluating that and looking into it.
But we have to remember this was approved by the county prior to the landfill people coming in. Okay. The other thing is I'm kind of at a query for this one, is that the February 2023 meeting, the attorney for the landfill was there. He brought up the idea of different things being changed. At that time, it was requested, you're the one that spoke on behalf of the board, that if they wanted to make any changes for them to put it in writing. Now, we did come across this evening talking about conditional use permit and so on. Has there been anything official in writing coming from the landfill to the county?
From Greenridge?
Yes.
Like I stated previously, they have submitted an application for the conditional use permit to reopen the conditional use permit based upon a Part A application. We haven't deemed it complete yet. We have an extensive amount of review that has to take place before we deem the application complete. So we have received something, we're just not at liberty to release it until it's deemed complete.
When did you receive it?
Oh gosh, not long ago, probably a week ago. I have to go back for a specific day.
Okay.
The end of last week, I believe.
I'm just curious, do you know what they on the way?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Mayo?
Been a while. In a prior life, I could understand all the stuff I've done for 3 years with them, but I'll do my best. I have questions, and maybe you can answer them quickly. But what I would really like to see is a condensation of the revenues coming to Cumberland, the revenue flow coming to us, the benefit, and an analysis of what the costs are to us if all of a sudden we make a deal. We've been taking money, as I understand it, for a while now, but maybe I misunderstand it. And we have to pay that back, I would assume, from what I understand. And so the question is, what is the cost to the county and my taxes and everybody else in here, if at this late date, given that we've already taken funds from them, as I understand it, what is going to be the cost to us in my tax rate should we decide to do this and we don't want to do this anymore? Related to that, in response to a couple of people who spoke prior to me, I've lived in Cumberland County, let's see, about 2 weeks. It will be 33 years. And I've gone through a lot of the development issues with Cumberland County over that time. And I can tell you from my perspective, and I'm not the guy that's pouring enough money to maybe bring business to Cumberland County. We have a serious problem with NIMBY in this county. I've seen dozens of projects get in here that get voted out because somebody doesn't like something about it and we fold. And we've had a lot of economic development opportunities here in this county, but they've never gone anywhere. When I first moved here, I was told that this was a county of no. And after 33 years, I'm beginning to believe it. So bottom line is, I think you mentioned to Robin that you could put some of her answers, figures, on your next presentation of this, the way you can put it online or whatever. It would be good if in simple language, because I'm a simple guy now, I don't understand this stuff anymore. You could simply put down, here's what we received, the project goes through. And here's what we're going to pay if we decide to cancel the project now at this late date. Take into account all the money we've got to return, and legal fees are going to cost us to defend that decision in court as well. And it would be really cool if you could just have something in that shows what the tax consequences to all the folks and all the districts in this county. So that'd be my suggestion.
All right, I appreciate that. I'm not prepared to answer that question right now, but we're recording this, and we'll definitely evaluate the best way to answer that question. And I'll get with the board about how we address that as part of the review of any upcoming conditions at that time, if that's their pleasure. So I thank you for those comments.
Next, Barbara Spees.
My only comment about this presentation, I think that a lot of people in the county are looking at Greenridge as a cash flow. My concern is that we talked about tourism, ag businesses, agriculture as a whole, for Cumberland County, we talked about Cop Creek, the water flow, us being a county that borders on the Phoenix River and Appomattox, having a large state forest, having Bear Creek State Park. I'm afraid that 5 years down the road, after Green Ridge comes into Cumberland County, that Cumberland officials are gonna go, oh my God, why did we allow this to happen to our county? Because it can have such a detrimental effect on every aspect that we're talking about trying to enhance. And the potential here is just catastrophic. And I don't think that the county is looking at that. They see some quick dollars, and Cumberland residents, I don't believe, want that. If you weigh out the pros and cons, I think the residents, the people that live here, don't want to take that risk. And I really wish that the Cumberland County officials would listen to the residents. Because we're the ones that are going to stay here forever. All of you guys may move, but we're here. We've been here for forever, and we're going to be here. And we are going to be the ones that are dealt this hand.
Gina Gordon.
Ms. Nichols, I have a question. When the Board of Supervisors reviewed the comprehensive plan for 2024, the Green Ridge project was omitted, and they were told to omit it. Why?
I honestly, I don't recall ever telling the board to amend.
You didn't, because they presented it to omit. Structural person. Okay, that's one. Concrete, if there are no hookups, and it's gonna have to be well inspected to support these times. How does that affect the lake, which is gonna be a covered use lake for contamination?
Well, so as part of the Cobb's Creek project, there is a watershed area that's already predetermined and it's actually in place. We can pull it up on a map and share it with the public, but there is a watershed area that's a protected area where it has restricted,
A buffer?
yes, it's a buffer, and it's got restrictions placed on that buffer, so to make sure that watershed is not.
I'm bringing this project, I'll take it. How was the air permit approved so quickly, and it seems to be without all the county officials input?
Air permit.
For DEP.
I need a little bit more information. So.
Scratch that, it's all right, information. Sorry. To the CUP application, since there have been so many changes, in the host agreement and the conditional use permit, is there any way this could actually get turned down? I mean, you're listing some things here about double liners and stuff like that, no window out of state trash. That's only up until they expand. All I heard from the Green Ridge at the office of this meeting is how they want to replace Straw City and Appomattox and Michigan and all that. That's all out of state trash there. You know, and the minute he said it comes over into our state, oh, it's our trash now. So there's going to be an expansion down the line. I mean, I guarantee it. That's all I know. And at that time, all of this does not meet the original host agreement and the conditional use permit that's now. So where does the county stand on if they Greenwich is telling you what to do. Every time they submit something, y'all are already frustrated. You can't deny this permit. You can't keep this process. Where is it going on the street with the ball that's going and say, we don't like these changes, and we really don't like what the future holds for the county? You don't have to answer that now. I wish you would, but I really think there's going to be some things that we're going to regret. The $100,000 for personnel, the Greenwich is going to pay the county, so you can hire a person to go out there and check, this and that, 24-hour notice of that. Isn't that a conflict? They're paying you to hire somebody, but you really think that person is going to work out for their best interest? That's not much. The other things, the 400,000, 200,000, these are lies. What we do in the spring bridge with our Parks and Recreation, they put in park beside county transportation. The place that cannot get it, to dump the trash, but the kids go play on the transportation.
Our next speaker, John Stevens.
Good evening. Well, everybody's been dating themselves, and I've been here my whole life, as well as most of them, 38 years. I plan on staying roughly. I do have to make one quick comment in regards to who plays in those clothes today now. My child does, so thank you. I appreciate that. This picture is all over. In regards to the topic that's at hand as far as agreements, Mr. Chairman, if a business applies to the county and follows all current rules and regulations per federal, state, and county, would you approve that business?
As a conditional use permit?
No, I'm just saying if a business, say it was a factory, they came to the county.
You can't deny it.
So we are at hand setting precedent that Cumberland is closed for business. If we, as a lot of sentiment in this building, says that, hey, I understand risk versus reward. Let's look at it. As somebody who is an avid river person, I'm on river probably 45 days a year. I can tell you, if you were worried about it, you would be coming to talk about paper mills. They release so much of the river if it was something you were really worried about. This is a modern landfill that is going to have precautions. I would also like to think about, does other localities, i.e. Hanover, do they have a landfill? They do. And right next to, I'm curious, the puddles me a location of it.
A lot of different.
Is it right next to 288 and 64? Where the highest, where, if I remember, I have to pull on, but it's also one of the highest grocery areas in the state of Virginia, the west and the river. So, also on that question, second hand, is with Green Ridge coming, there are jobs created. Do those jobs pay money to county residents, or is that a conflict? They plan on hiring people, correct?
Okay, that's correct.
So we got 16 jobs, right? So in reference to economic development, when we're looking at that, you got 16 well-paying jobs. If you want a foundation of something, set an example for economic development, we have to, whether we like it or we don't, nobody wants a landfill. But we have an opportunity to provide for 16 families. We have an opportunity to create jobs within the county that pay well. Isn't it our responsibility to do that? And I'll ask, if we have a business in the county that contributes taxes, would that help alleviate some of the taxes upon the county residents?
There's a lot of meat on the bone there. All I can tell you is that when a project comes to the county, it's the county administration's role to educate the board on what the application is. We ensure that the process is followed legally. we have an obligation, I have an obligation as the county administrator to share the pros and cons of what a project can do to the county, and then we engage the public to hear the feedback. At the end of the day, the board has to make a tough decision. So that's how the process works. So, to your point, yes, it does benefit 16 families, and it does bring in revenue. That's what's projected.
Is there also the median salary of those jobs?
We can request that.
Thank you.
That's it.
We are almost scheduled, 3 minutes over.
Are there any additional questions? I'm shocked by it too, but apparently there are some households that go through some times. So, nothing surprises me. Any other questions? Hey, everyone, I greatly appreciate this opportunity to present to you all and to engage with the community. I want to thank Dr. Jones and Spruceberry Farm for hosting this. Thank you for please help yourself to some water and refreshments. And again, we thank you for engaging with your county government and your public school system. Thank you so much for listening.